Hello everybody. A little later than I meant today. I meant to do this earlier. Today has not been one of my better days. I'm not sure I can actually tell you why yet, but I probably will at some point after I've checked whether we're allowed to talk about it or not. Yesterday I was going to stream, so I do apologise for not streaming, but I got caught up with small annoying dog barking at me. No, I got caught up with, I was watching some streams and doing some other things, and Diablo 4 was supposed to launch at midnight. It did not. I went to bed because I'm not stupid, but apparently it finally came round at 5 o'clock in the morning, so just as well I didn't. And yeah, lacking. So, I mean, it's not that bad, but considering they encouraged people to pay £60 for the pre-order to get all of the shinies in advance for about 3 hours gameplay, not particularly good value. Yes, they've changed a lot of things, but kind of who cares? The things they changed aren't cosmetic, but at the same time, to explain to those who've never played Diablo 4, at the very beginning, you pick a class. You then spend far too much time picking from 1 in 10 faces with, you get kind of a preset body type, so you can only really change your face. You can change your hairstyle, the hair colour, your eye colour, your jewellery. Yeah, you can change your earrings and shit. Some makeup, some tattoos. And all through the gameplay, you are a tiny thing on the screen, covered in armour, and you can only view yourself from behind. And even other players you may see around, all you really see is the armour. So, unless you're Dayglow White or, deepest black, you really don't see the player inside the armour because, well, it's, I've got a 32-inch screen. The player is less than an inch tall. All that detail, really? I mean, eye colour in something that's less than an inch tall, it's like 1 pixel. It's so not worth it. And there are other games that follow similar suit. And some of them you can change your eyebrow shape, the weight of your face, you can change almost like how long your eyelashes are. Okay, maybe not quite that bad, although one of them I did see did have eyelash changes. But, quite often, when you're a tiny thing on screen that you can only see from behind, you can have a face like a baboon's backside. Nobody's gonna know, because most of the time you end up with a full head helmet or something in, Might and Magic-y type of games. And, excuse me, need to cough. And, yeah, let's not do that, people. So, today's probably not going to be a very long stream as it's 9 o'clock already. But it is time, I think, to do a bit more of our lace, otherwise it will never get done. So, back to where we were at. If I zoom in a bit and lift it up some cloth, you can see that we've done, this is the halfway down point of our triangle. So pretty much if we did a tiny little bit there and across, we would be halfway through this quarter. So it really is important that we get the heck on with it, because I need to get rid of these spangled bobbins. I really, really do. For your sanity is mine, otherwise I will never shut up about these bobbins. Oh look, adverts. Well done, adverts. bit more coughing. I do apologise for the coughing. I was fine. I have not coughed all day. Now I'm talking to you, I need to cough. And I've been in some meetings. I had quite a long meeting actually, and I was fine. I didn't cough then either. So anyway, let's cover up those because we don't need those for now. Let's have a little. Oops, didn't mean to jog the pillow there. It was my knee meeting the interesting little shelfy thing underneath my table. Right, so you aren't needed. You are part of the cloth stitch section, so we'll hide you. And in fact, we'll get to my punnet pins so that I can pin across the floor as always. There seems to be an unwritten kind of law of gravity that says when working with pins, one must catapult them round the world. So I'm going to pop that in there and pokey that down to keep those underneath. These can then go on top in order so that they're out the way. You are not part of that. So let's poke you out the way because it will be a little while before we need some of you. Remember I said previously a little about how as a whole you have a choice. So right here, right now, I can either work this row of rose ground or work this row of rose ground. It matters not which you do, because the two pairs that go into the first one go into the second, because once you've completed that one, two pairs from that go into that, two pairs of that go into that. So they cascade across. So I can go either way, and I think I will work downwards. Excuse me, let me cough proper, hang on. As I said, no coughs all day. Now I'm trying to do this. Many coughs. Well done, body, you're trying to kill me. So, I'm going to work down this side. Why am I going to work down this side? For the sheer reason, and we'll work out how suddenly all of our bobbins are mingled. We will work downwards because we don't have to use any other bobbins. We will need two more from this side, but this will mean we only work with these bobbins. So I don't need you for the moment. I need you two. Don't need you for the moment. You two, and two more. Which hopefully are you two. They are. So I'm going to make these a bit longer. I feel a bit short. And I know you need them short, but I don't. So let's zoom you out. Oops, that was in a bit more. Zoom you out. I need to make these longer because they're too close to the work and it feels weird. As I said before, there is no actual destined thou must have X inches of thread between the bobbin and the working line. It's just a question of what's comfortable, what's practical, because obviously if it's going to fall off the bottom of the cushion, that's no good to anybody. So, you wrapped around a pin, congratulations. You two have done your... I need to undo these now because my brain is telling me that that doesn't look right. Even though I know it was, but I may have jumbled them, so let's do that again. That's good. These get the same treatment. Now, make the square. Pinnity pin, pin, pin. I've got one stuck under me now. There we go. I'll do that. You're too long because you've come undone. Congratulations. Apparently the coughing's not over, so I apologise yet again. As I say, how can you go all day and be fine? And now, of course, I was halfway through stuff and I'm confused. So, that was all we needed. Oops, that was 2 pins. These pins are just so fine that, yeah, trying to pick them up's hard enough. Seriously, pin. Oop, actually, it was 3 pins. I've just thrown one on the floor. Because they are less than half a millimetre in width, these things really are painfully, insultingly thin. Part of the reason I chose to use thinner pins was because where you have your pinhole, obviously the size of the pin matters. So, and the more the pinhole, the more the hole shows. Now, it can be a good thing, it can be a bad thing. So I thought I'd use a smaller pin this time, because we were using smaller thread. And let's try and pick one pin this time. So it was, but it is distinctly so much harder to use tiny pins when you can't really grab them, because there's nothing, well, barely anything there to grab. So, right, we're done with you two for the moment. You two can go out the way. Now we need 2 more, and we shall lengthen these to make my life a little bit easier. So once again, it is raining here in very unsunny England. There's a current flood warning out for my area. But as you can tell, I'm not bothered, I'm in here. So, I don't believe my house is in danger of flooding. I mean, it's always possible, but I don't believe that we are in imminent danger. So, I will continue as such until the rain starts lapping at the door. Pretty much. So yes, we're not panicking yet. However, if you live on the west coast of America, probably somewhere around the Florida region, do not be watching this. Leave your house. Get the heck away from that place. Because apparently you're about to have, or are currently having, the 4th biggest hurricane in recorded history. So, if you'd like to leave and get to your own safety so that you can watch later, though this will be on YouTube, you can watch it later. Seriously, do not put your health at risk watching silly idiots like me on the internet. Dear heavens, no. There's fluff on my thread. There we go. There's still fluff on my thread. There we go. That's better. So yes, if you're in Florida, get the heck out of there, dude. That's not sounding good. It really isn't. We don't really get hurricanes here in the UK. This doesn't feel right. Yeah, it is. I think. We'll find out in the end. One of the biggest problems I have with lace making is when you're knitting, it's right in your lap. It's kind of 12 inches from your face. When you're crocheting, it's about 12 inches from your face. When you're embroidering, you can make it about 12 inches from your face. Cross stitch, 12 inches from your face. Weaving is further away. But, in essence, because weaving is a big pile of repetition, usually, You can rely on the fact that you do a repeat, you check the repeat. If the repeat is good, you are safe to continue in the assumption this will always be so, because threads can't change which shed they're in. So you can continue in the safe assumption life is going to be okay. Whereas with something like this, tiny threads that tend to merge a bit with the background, I was thinking about how I would be able to make white threads stand out better for you, and frankly it's gonna be a problem because you can't print in white with most printers, so I can't print the pattern in white, so I can't, get black paper or dark navy paper, or dark paper at least. I can only print dark on lighter. Now it is traditional for it to be light blue or green, as I've got here. Probably doesn't look that green to you at the moment, but I assure you it is kind of pus green. That's the nearest kind of, it's about pus green. I think it's called leaf green, but it's near a pus. So, the only thing I can do, and I'm not sure that this is an epic mountain I want to climb, is to, say, take this pricking, put a dark card underneath it, stab all the holes again, so the card underneath is now also pricked, and under my very bright ring light, because believe me, this light goes a lot brighter than this, make each dot with, I've got a white pen. That's not it. There we go. I have a white pen, and it draws really, really well on dark things. She says, quickly looking around for any piece of dark card. Here we go. So, for example, if I take this in the middle, doesn't show up, of course, because that would be far too simple. My white pen has decided to cease to function, possibly because it's been stored upside down. Give it a shake. You'll have to believe me that maybe this was not the paper to do it on. Yep, my white pen has decided not to bother. Like, how we all do as biros? Biros that cease to kind of biro whenever you want them. So inevitably you've got like 15 half-used biros everywhere. Give it a bit of a shake in a downwards direction. And try again. It did briefly. But, yeah. Well, you can sort of see that it does when it sort of goes. I'm going to store it the other way up, because I'd obviously stored it the wrong way up, which offended it greatly. So I could then go over and dot every dot that I've just repenned and draw the lines on and the zigzags and the squares by hand. So it would look a little bit like chopped liver, because, well, it would. So I could do that, I really could, but mind you, and then of course laminate it, but then I'd have to re-pick all the holes again, so yeah. It's not an idea that fills me with joy, I will confess, but as we're going to be doing quite a few, so it is potentially going to be a very repeated pattern, perhaps it is a necessary mountain to climb, but of course I don't currently have any dark pieces of card. I've got some brown card, but I don't think that's particularly conducive to this either. And when I mean brown, it's craft brown, so it's kind of random ripping paper, kind of this colour. So, see, it's not much darker, although it does make that look a bit more green. But, it's not... I don't think it's going to help you see the pattern as much. So, it is a quandary, because often, I've seen a few lace making videos. I'm not going to say that I haven't. They all end up working because they're demonstrating a particular technique often. They use really colossally big thread, almost like knitting yarn. And I think if I was going to demonstrate stitches and the like, that's exactly what I'd do. I'd almost use rope. And then you can use bright orange or, something that really stands out. But in doing this, because this is was, before we realised how much I hated spangles, potentially going to be a square. It could have been the very, very first square. Then it's got to be made of the stuff I need it to be made it from. Now, so that is a concern. Truly is. That's right. Just checking, because you're crossed over. You're from somewhere else. You're from somewhere else. Why is there only one? No. You come from up there, so you are part of that one. You're the next one. You're the next one. Okay. So yes, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with that, to be honest. Because obviously it would be ideal if it was also, say, dark navy with white, because then you guys could see the pattern far more clearly. And that would be good. Now, I spoke to you Sunday. Today's Tuesday, right? I spoke on Sunday about potentially having found a bolster cushion. And indeed, I have. It would be nearly 28 inches long, and it is 11 inches in diameter. So this gives us quite a colossal chunk of cushion, and it would be possible to do the entire neck curtain that I want to make in one piece. Now, it would be terrible to video, because of course it's round, and really you need to see it almost from my perspective, because, well, over the hill and all that, because obviously the work, you want the work almost slightly in front of centre, so that then obviously you work down the front, because you can work down the back because you can't see it. It's hard enough seeing the wretched pinholes without giving yourself problems. So it would be ideal for... I saw that. You leapt off the end. It would be ideal from a me making it perspective, but not a me documenting the process perspective, without you having to see too much of my lovely good self in the video. And before anyone wonders, but Liz, that wouldn't be so bad. You haven't seen me. I made a comment today about some photographs for work. And I said, don't worry, they wouldn't want me on it. They'd be locking me in a cupboard. Some of the current photos make everyone look like the cast of Beverly Hills 90210, i.e. all the beautiful people in life, and clearly far too rich, and clearly far better looking and younger than myself, because I'm 52. And so they would not want in their photos some stupid old fat British woman who... I had a car accident, is the short answer. I had a car accident, and I have some facial scarring. Now, it's not that prevalent anymore. For many years, it was excessively prevalent. People halfway down the street could see it because it was purple. And I mean, that real dark, like aubergine purple. And it runs from my from my nose to my chin. And so as a result, it really was unmissable. And being on your face, except for 2020, we don't usually cover up our faces. So people stared quite a lot. I got really self-conscious about it, really grumpy about it. Moreover, for many, many years, even once it had died down a bit to a slight red to a vaguely human colour, the skin, because it was solid scar, for picturability, the scar in question goes all the way through. It's not like a cat scratch. It was my entire face opened a bit like an alien thing and did the whole kind of... So instead of being two halves like this together, it kind of did this. And was somewhat off-putting for my poor father, who was first to see me in hospital. Because, well, basically, I was open from nose to chin. And all my teeths were on view. Hence, when I had to say the word south, not that the word south is particularly hard to enunciate. When you have no lips that join together, you get south. And so that's what they wrote as part of my address. So my forefather, bless his little socks, had to try and put on a brave face when he saw me, because I'd lost 4 inches of bone in my leg, broken my pelvis, and, well, mullered my face. So walking around afterwards, it was... I mean, don't get me wrong, the one on my hip is bigger, but of course, I don't go around with my hip on show very often. I don't exactly wear bikinis to the high street, so it, it was not quite so much of an issue. I need to do the stitchy stitch. And so as a result of all of that, I became quite conscious of the fact that there is a scar on my face. And even though it wore down and it is now, I won't say not visible, because it is visible, but even 20 years ago, so that was 10 years later, someone who hadn't seen me since before my car accident walked into the room and from nearly halfway across the room went, "What happened to your face?" And I replied, "Well, what happened to your thumb?" Because they lost the top of their thumb in an accident. And they kind of went, "Oh." I also had no hair at the time, so I was a little bit weird looking at the time because I was undergoing chemo. And it was a little bit off-putting to the people in the room because, well, the people in the room didn't know we knew each other. I was engaged to a lovely fellow, and he was at work and I was meeting him at work. It was the reason we moved up here. And he'd said to me, "I've got some guy coming to do some work. I've got to babysit him," which, is normal in IT. You get someone in and you need to check that they're not stealing your data and doing anything interesting, or you're learning from them, or a bit of both, right? And he said, he had this bloke coming in. I never thought to ask his name because, well, you wouldn't, right? So when my ex-boyfriend walked in the room, who was the man in question, I felt a little bit self-conscious because obviously, well, I know things about this guy. The other people won't. And obviously, at this point, my fiancé doesn't know I know this guy. And so me exchanging insults with him really was quite, odd. And the fact that I could mention his thumb and turned out a whole lot stranger than you could possibly imagine. Anyway, obviously there were a few pleasantries. We, kind of a bit more kind of like, "Oh, how are you? What you been up to for the last, 15 years," whatever it was. So, on the way home, what the hell was all that about? That's my ex-boyfriend. Oh, that's... Yeah, that's... Oh, I've got to work with him the rest of the week. Yeah, well, you can't tell him I told you that, kind of thing, right? Don't need a pin yet. And so there was a bit of that. Anyway, I agreed, because obviously I knew him, that I would come and meet them for lunch every day, because I was not working at the time. And I turned up. Hi, here for lunch. Oh, okay, great, I've just got to go and get something from the car, says the ex-boyfriend, right? And I kind of watch him while nobody else does, because, well, I'm a nosy fart. And then I realise there's someone sitting in the car. So I turned to boyfriend, my fiancé, and it's like, who's that in the car? What do you mean? Who's in the car? Turns out, it was ex-boyfriend's wife. Even though he was doing 8 hours a day, she sat in the car outside every day. Didn't leave, didn't go shopping, didn't go into town to, visit Costa. She sat in the car. She did not join us for lunch. She was very welcome, but she did not join us for lunch. She sat in that car every freaking day, all day. And of course, like everything, once you've seen it, you can't unsee it. And it wasn't like she did it on one day because she wasn't feeling well, or she didn't want to go out wandering because she wasn't feeling sure, or no, she did it all 5 days. Very weird. Very, very weird. So, yeah, strange people. So yes, that was a little bit kind of fun for me, but obviously that was someone I vaguely knew, and so explaining what was going, what had happened wasn't too big a deal, because, well, they'd known me almost like 18 months before I did it. And whereas obviously, if I met random Joe in the street, do you really want to go all the way back to 1991 to tell them a story? So, yes, it was something I was very conscious of. And obviously last time I talked a bit about when I had cancer, this time round, and how, second time round I was a bit more, whatever. Well, I think I mentioned to you, he said I'd have a scar. And I kind of went, bigger than the one I've got? And he said, well, how big's the one you've got? And I said, about 6 inches. Because, well, it's about 6 inches wide and about an inch. Sorry, it's 6 inches long and about an inch wide. It's probably slightly longer than 6 inches. I've never actually measured it. But it's quite a big one, but it's on my scar. This one was going to be on my stomach. And while I had plenty of stomach, because it's rounder than it should be, I was not picturing quite what I got, to be fair. I'm not going to say I was shocked, but it wasn't what I was expecting. Shocked would be the right word, but I wasn't like, oh my god, it's terrible, undo it, because, it's not a thing. But it was, I was expecting, because they can do it through keyhole, so I was expecting, keyhole maybe with potentially 3 or 4 inches perhaps, should they feel the need arise. Not 15. Now, I would like to point out that on most human beings, a 15-inch scar from the rib cage to the pelvic bone is not obviously normal, because, well, it just isn't that far. Well, that's because, as I said, I'm rounder than perhaps I should be. But even so, 15 inches was longer than even I thought possible, because, I'm not 12 feet tall. So it was much more than I had anticipated. Now, I'm not that worried by it. It looks like I star jumped onto a chainsaw, frankly. But because I'm single, I live alone, my dogs don't care, it's covered, so it's not like, it goes all the way around my head or something, it's for normal environments, it is invisible. And so from that point of view, yeah, whatever. And it's not like people are going to sit there and go, what's that? As they did to my face. But to continue the car accident story, because I lost 4 inches of bone in my leg, they put a metal pin in to stabilise the fracture and to encourage the bone fragments of floatiness to adhere to each other and form a bone. Which, well, they did. But in the process, obviously, walking on it was not a thing. Because, well, there was only a metal pole holding my leg together. And it was like, oh, man, you shouldn't put too much weight on it. And, well, we'd rather you kind of didn't. And unbeknown to everybody at the earlier point, they put it in wrong. And it hurt like a... Anyway, because it hurt so much, I couldn't really walk on it. And not being able to walk on it was really not that big a deal. Because, well, they didn't really want you putting weight on it. So it wasn't too much of a problem. So to get some exercise, to get some strength into my leg, because I was convinced that would help a little bit with the pain, perhaps, I went swimming. So me in my swimming costume with my purple scar on my face, a purple scar on my hip, and a purple scar on my left foot, because we're British, we sit in the right-hand side of our car. When you drive an automatic, you only use your right foot, so your left foot's kind of a bit spare. As a result of this, what you tend to do, and nearly everybody does it, is you either use the lovely little block at the bottom of the footwell that they put in there for your foot, or you tuck it under the, against the chair. Well, I used to tuck mine against the chair. So in the car accident, because I'm not an automatic fan, but my car at the time was automatic, my left foot was just in front of the slidey rail for the chair. So when a car at the best part of nearly 60 miles an hour meets another car coming the other way at about 60 miles an hour, resulting in the equivalent of a 120 mile an hour into a brick wall smash, your foot tends to go back into the rail of the chair, even if the rail of the chair was not that visible from under the chair, because, well, physics, inertia, positive and negative forces and all that. So there was basically, and as you may have known, even if I was skinnier then, so feet do not have a lot of flesh on them. So stitching them together is difficult. And in fact, I got discharged from hospital a week later. I had to go back every week or so for checkups. And I didn't put the thing in. Idiot. Yes, I did. What the hell's going on there? Because I'm a douche. That's what it is. I am forevermore a moron. I forgot to do the funky stitches. That's why it looks funny. There. Now we don't need you. You get to go over there. So, I turned up at something... Anyway, back to the foot story. For the first few times, because I was not really walking because my hip was the size of a small elephant and swollen and was basically a solid bruise from knee to kind of chest and very uncomfortable. I was not doing a lot of walking. I had some crutches, but I was not doing a lot of walking. Pretty much the toilet and back was that was it. And I remember one time going to the hospital and because of course, hopping along on my crutches, I felt my left foot split open because there was nothing holding the stitches together, so they just ripped. And it was kind of like, okay, got in the thing, found a payphone because didn't have a mobile phone then, and it was like, Mum, need you to call by the chemist and find some steri strips to pull my foot back together, because it was about the only thing on me they didn't check. And when I got home, my mother steri stripped my foot back together so that it could heal. So the one on my foot was also purple. My leg was, my hip was purple. My face was purple. But everything else had kind of gone down, so I went swimming. So I got a full swimming costume, none of this high leg crap. I got a full swimming costume and went into Highgrove swimming pool, because I'm going to name and shame them for this, because it was quite a few years ago. And I went swimming. I was there for a bit. It had been a while since I've been swimming, but I did my bit. Lappity lap, lappity lap. I got out, went to collect my clothes to go and get changed, and one of the girls came over and she said, I'm sorry, but we need to ask you not to come again. You're offending our patrons. And I looked her in the face, because, you know, it's quite a hurtful comment in a way, because you're basically, the vision of you is offensive. Yeah, well, love, you don't have to live with it, so just be grateful. So I was slightly, I wasn't unkind, but I was slightly short in the, on what grounds? These are not tattoos. It's not like I've got pictures of people humping tattooed on my back, or, you know, this was not a choice. This is not a life decision. This was an accident. I have to live with this. And you're telling me that I can no longer come here because I am offending your patrons. Well, yeah, I've got to live with this. You don't. How can you say that to somebody? And she did look particularly sheepish. But I didn't want to go back because, well, why would I? Why would I want to go back to a place where they were happy to insult someone who had paid to be there? So, it didn't help in the whole confidence thing. Let's truly be honest. And so it's meant that I am quite conscious that I have scars and stuff. So I would not want to be in anyone's photos at the best of times. But seriously, the photos that I was looking at today, you know, truly are like Hollywood's finest almost. And clearly, I do not fall into that picture. So, I don't think they'll be having me in their company photos by choice. Or if I am, I'll be kind of in the background and they'll be hoping no one notices, you know. And that's fine, because I don't really need my photo in places, so. It's fine. So I'm rambling a bit today because I am distracted by some news that I possibly can't share. But never mind. Stupid pinholes. I can't see you. So yes, and it's only Tuesday. It feels like a Thursday. I'm not sure why it feels like a Thursday. But to be honest, I think, did I have a meeting yesterday morning? I thought I did. One moment, my sanity requires me to check whether I had a particular meeting yesterday morning. Meetings. Monday. Apparently not. Was it really last week? No, it was Friday. Felt like Monday, so Well, it seems like it was only yesterday. Oh well, could have sworn it was. I definitely would have sworn it was later. But then it would be bin day. So, yeah. I wish it was Thursday, though. That'd be nice. As you may be aware, I stream Friday afternoons. The reason I stream Friday afternoons is because where I work, we only have to work site hours. And site hours are deemed 8.5 hours during the week, i.e. we work a bit more time than the rest of you, so most of you used to work an 8-hour day. And we have a half-hour lunch, so instead of working 7.5 hours every day, we work 8.5 hours every day. Well, we work I think it's an extra half hour every day. But it basically works out that we work in such a way that we only have to do 5 hours on a Friday. Now, when you first join, this is really weird. Because obviously you've come from places where 9 to 5 or 9 to 5:30 was a thing. And obviously, you know, the evening home drive on a Friday is hell, as nearly every country suffers the same problem, because we're all desperate to get home. Idiot, douchebag, didn't want to do that. And so what happens is that because you suddenly get a Friday afternoon. Now, an afternoon is really not that long, because obviously I normally work 8 till 4, 7:30 till 4, and so at 4 o'clock my work day is normally over. This helps with traffic problems and stuff, except for now I work at home, but that doesn't matter. Especially in winter, because obviously, you know, it means that there is light, normal style daylight for the early part, for longer of my drive than other people who work till later. So yes, I do that, I work. But obviously, on a Friday, it obviously means that I have normal daytime till 4 o'clock-ish that I would not normally have. And, well, it means you can go shopping before everybody else. Now, obviously, a lot of the people around here also work there, so it doesn't work so well when you live here because, well, they're all going shopping too, for the exact reason that you're trying to go shopping, because there's less idiots and people that you want to, you know, swing your shopping basket at. But it is a doable point. It is, you can go shopping on a Friday, so now you don't have to do that on a Saturday. You can maybe get home from shopping, put some washing on. And so, you know, maybe do a couple of loads of washing on a Friday night. Again, you don't have to do that now at the weekend. So it does open the weekend for doing a little more of things of your own choices rather than adulting. And frankly, you'll have to price it out of my cold dead hands. I am not going to be giving up my half-day Fridays because, well, for 20 years now, I've had half-day Fridays. They're not optional anymore. And I've always known if I ever went to go for another job, for example, one of the hardest things I would have to deal with would be the potential of working a whole day week. Now, obviously, that's not up for discussion, but because I'm not leaving. But it is that, you know, it is so good to have Friday afternoon because, for example, my vets, like doctors, we only really do Monday to Friday. Saturdays is for emergencies and people who can't get in the week. Well, I can't get in during the week because I frigging work. How do you think I afford to pay for these two? And talking of paying for these two, when I got them, the first year I insured them, they were £38 a month for the pair. So they were just, they were £19 each a month for the pair. They're now, and they were 4 months old when I got them. They're now 4. I got their renewal documents because obviously I will have had them 4 years on Halloween. I got their renewal document through yesterday. I'm so glad I was sitting down when I read that. Currently, I pay, I hope you're sitting down too, £118 a month for 2 dogs who have never had anything go wrong with them. The insurance hasn't heard a peep out of them for 4 years, and their current insurance policy is £118 a month. So the fact now that they are 4 years old, they have now decided £143 a month. It's more than I pay for my house insurance and my car insurance put together by a lot. Just for content, I think my car insurance was £200. My house insurance was just shy of £700. So they are costing more than my car and my house, which were considerably more expensive. 2 dogs. So I am not happy. Now, the people I'm with, let's say one of them had done something spectacular. Leapt onto a stake or something, made big grubby hole in themselves. I would have to pay, I think it's £150 excess on that. That's fine. Because, well, that just gets me through the door pretty much. And they're covered up to, I think it's £10,000 worth of insurance, which is part of the reason it is so expensive. But only part. Because as I say, it's not like I claimed on it. Now, this particular insurance company does do we do not put up our staff should you have claimed. No, you just put it up a lot anyway. I was under the illusion that if you took out a policy with them, let's say it was £40 a month, that it remained £40 a month. Now, I guess in a way that's a little naive because, if they say we do not put up your plan, well, that's kind of what that implies, does it not? I mean, my internet is £35 a month. Not that it's necessarily worth it for the speeds I get, but, we'll ignore that. It is the best I can have, so it's not much more expensive than the others, so it's not really a big deal. Well, it's the same price and has been for the 5 years I've lived. Yeah, 5 years I've lived here now. The one for my old house, which started, me and my ex-husband were trying to work out when we took out that particular thing, and I think, well, it's somewhere between 2003 and I think it's about 2008. We have no idea which year, but yeah. To this day, it is still the same price as the day we took it out. That, my friends, is a policy that does not go up. Now, interestingly, every year they write to us and go, oh, we've done our checks to see if you're on the best possible policy, because obviously, they might be able to flog you faster speed or something. The answer is not yet. But, don't need those two, I've done that bit. And every year they write, you don't, you have a choice. You can either change your plan or stick with what you've got. And then they list the plan that we're on, and it's, £35 a month. And then they proceed to tell you that if you were to change to this plan, it would now be, say, £42 a month. So if I change the plan but don't actually change the plan, it would now be £42 a month. Or I can stay as I am and keep paying you £35 a month. I'm going to stay paying you £35 if you don't mind. And they're happy with that. Unlike your mobile phone people who generally do the, you can have a contract that says pay £20 a month, and you can have these perks for £20 a month, and you go, yeah, okay, and then they go, and then if you look at something, they go, oh, well, you're out of contract, and you're going, well, yeah, but I'm still paying you the 20 quid or whatever it was, and they go, yes, well, you're out of contract, you really need to have a new one. What, did it not dawn on you to write and tell me that my contract was out? And it says, go, hey, as your contract runs out this month, have you considered these alternatives that maybe give you more data, or it's cheaper, or it's... No, they don't do that. They just, the moment you ever speak to them, they kind of go, oh, you're out of contract, and you'll have to change your contract, and then try and con you into paying a whole load more money. Now, over here in the UK, I don't know whether it's still the case, but that you used to do it so that if you bought a phone and had your contract, that there was almost, it was almost a punishment for having done so. So you would... So I'm just trying to sort these two out because I can't tell which way they crossed always. There we go. You would, let's say you bought a brand new iPhone, so they'd go, well, for you to get this brand new iPhone and a contract, you need to pay £100 up front. Well, you're getting a 1,500 quid phone, so £100 up front for, in their pocket, not so bad. And then you can pay, 60 quid a month, but you get these minutes and you're getting a new shiny phone and you're paying overtime for it. But of course, what they don't tell you with that is a lot of them, now some of them do it separately, I believe EE do it separately, I think it's them, anyway, or is it O2, one or the other, one of them does do it separately, so you have almost two payments, one for the phone, one for the contract, which is fair. But many of them don't. Many of them, you would get a phone and you would be paying, say, 60 quid a month because, you're paying off a £1,500 phone as well. But when the contract comes to an end and technically you've now paid off the phone, well, it's not in their interest to remind you because you continue paying 60 quid a month till you notice. So they then get, £40 a month extra for doing nothing, while you pay 60 quid for your phone and kind of going, my phone bill's really expensive. It's because you've already paid it off, love. Now, most of them are 2 years, so they're trying to make you pay a £1,500 phone off in 2 years. It is your phone, so should you break it, it's not like they'll replace it. You don't get insurance on your phone with that. That is purely, they send you a phone and a contract and go, give us a load of money. I don't generally do that. I buy my phone and then get a contract because, well, then it's only 20 quid. And so that tastes really sweet. I've been munching pear drops all day. Dear friends, you may be aware that my dogs Rory and Amy have nicknames. And Rory McClaws and Amy Winehouse are very valid names. She has another nickname, Crackhead, because she, unlike now when she's asleep, when she's not asleep because she is constantly in a state of movement. And she is almost again, it's kind of like, one of the laws of physics. She is constantly in a state of movement. And much as I love her dearly, this is why she is incredibly thin, even though I feed her more than her brother, who is bigger than her, and because he's male after all. But I feed her more. but she's got hands in her pants. She is always in a state of movement. And it gets a bit much on occasions because, well, it just really does. Just sit still for once. Go to sleep. Go to sleep so you're not moving because, it's doing my head in. But I have discovered that crackhead is possibly a more apt name than I realised was a done deal. So, here's the thing. Rory has a secret loving for consuming possibly not quite the most disgusting substance in the world, because we all know that there are more worse substances than this, and I think he does eat some of those too. But tubs of Vaseline. Now this is a 400 gram tub of Vaseline. I suffer quite a lot from eczema and dry lips, so what I do is I buy in bulk because, well, I can put it everywhere. And for those who do not understand Vaseline, petroleum jelly. So it is a done thing, and that one is allegedly rose scented. Yeah, no, it's not. But I quite like the scented one because the other one doesn't have, well, it does have a smell. Anyone who says it doesn't have a smell is not quite being honest with themselves. It has kind of a slimy smell, whereas this one, I can't smell it, but it doesn't smell slimy either, so I'm good with that. That's my third tub of that. Not because I used it, because Sir Mr. Paws here consumed it. Now, I wouldn't say ate it, because that would be wrong, but consumed is definitely the word. Unfortunately, in the consummation of said Vaseline tub, Vaseline did what Vaseline does well. Now, in case you have never used Vaseline, Vaseline is really good. It is a slimy barrier type. I don't need another pin, you idiot. Barrier type thing, so it is good for dry lips, cracking skin. It is also, at a push, a light lubricant for metal objects, for example. You can frankly use it for a whole host of shit, but this stuff's designed for body use, obviously. What the shit is going on now? I clearly am losing my common sense factor in that was supposed to go in the bottom. That's what was that. Right, so I do need to do that, and I need to do this. Anyway, once consumed, the Vaseline made good haste throughout Rory's digestive system, and did what happens when the body is not entirely content with things of your body. Well, it expelled it. And in the first situation, all over my beige carpet. The phrase sharted, I think, is the most applicable phrase. For my carpet got covered with slug trails of and Vaseline. Because obviously, let's just say, instead of the industrial drain cleaner they make you take for colonoscopies, clearly an alternative is eat a tub of Vaseline, because it cleaned him out well and truly. Poor little man. And he was most upset because he had in the house. And he knows that he's not supposed to. Not that I've screamed, slapped or otherwise, but he knows that I will not be pleased. So you would have thought that learning from this experience, the now educated Mr. Paws would, even if when tempted by said tub of Vaseline being in a semi-accessible area. And when I mean semi, I mean you've got to climb over 3 pieces of furniture and halfway up the wall to get it. That maybe you would have learned that the unpleasantness of last time, because it can't have been pleasant, would put you off. And no, we did not learn from this experience. So we consumed tub number 2. Now, tub number 2 was, from a British point of view, far funnier. From Rory's point of view, more embarrassing. And from my point of view, funny as hell and a bit grosser. So, I should wait for the ads because you don't want to miss this. You don't want to miss this. I shall finish this race ground while the ads run. Because I don't know if anyone's actually listening, but you will want to hear this if you watch this. I'll have a bit of Coke while the ad runs. Come on, ads, you must be done. Must be done soon. There we go. So, Rory McPaws, having consumed his second tub of Vaseline, was feeling a little sorry for himself because, well, clearly it sits unwell in the stomach. We've all eaten something that didn't sit quite right. It hasn't come up, it hasn't gone down yet, but it's just not feeling good. And clearly we were in this state. And I've mentioned this a few times. Rory loves to sit behind me like a bolster cushion. So Rory resumed his usual position, and as he does, occasionally he gets up, makes a big fuss, gets off the couch, moves around a bit, and then gets back exactly where he was 2 seconds ago. During such a manoeuvre, we farted. Only it wasn't a fart. And we all know the song Never Trust a Fart. Well, Rory found this out firsthand. Moreover, so did I. Because while I did not hear the fart, I felt the follow. And what do I mean by felt the follow? Well, my good friends, in essence, when someone farted, he literally farted most of the tub of Vaseline in one large lump. Literally, if I put my hand in my Vaseline tub and slung it at the couch, well, actually, if I did that, it would be far more spread, but basically, if I put my hand in the couch and then wiped it on the back of my couch, this is exactly what it was like. It was not tainted in colour, thank goodness, but it was, most discernibly, it came out the back end of the dog. So it had clearly been through the digestive system of the dog. Now, we as humans do not like so much the concept of anything that has been through the digestive system. Because even if it is not brown and smelly, it should be. Because, well, it should be. And so, undigested but definitely having been through Vaseline was not well received because, of course, how did I know it was there? Because it was warm. And suddenly there was this warm sensation about halfway up my back. And it was like, what? And fortunately, and again, whether you're religious or not, thank goodness, God was on my side. For as I leant forward and turned round to see, not knowing what to expect, because I should have guessed the approximate timeage of travelling through the digestive system of a dog. But, he'd eaten it. I wasn't sure quite how much he had eaten, because he could have smeared it somewhere. He could already have left some deposits in the garden. To see basically 400 grams of Vaseline sitting on the back of my couch. It's really hard to get out of cloth. Because, well, it does what it does best. It's barrier cream. It kind of seeps in and makes it waterproof. And it's really hard to get out your couch. And it was not one of those things that I had ever given a lot of consideration to. I mean, we all deal with various substances. For example, Germaline. The original ointmenty style, but not quite as good as the original ointment stuff. Getting that out of stuff, because again, that's an oil-based product rather than a cream. Friggin' nightmare. But again, because, well, you keep it in the tube and you put it in small amounts on bits of you that you've cut or have got, a rash on or something that you're trying to, because it is a kind of anti-germ, antifungal, anti-thing, anaesthetic-y thing. You don't give it a lot of thought as to, I wonder how well that washes out of my couch. Maybe we should. Because it took quite a lot to clean the couch sufficiently that, and of course now the couch was wet, which is actually worse than Vaseline because, of course, when it's wet, I mean, it does dry, obviously, but I'd had to get it sufficiently wet that it seemed to take forever to dry. Well, I had to go and wash the dog, because, well, some of it was still attached to the dog. And so it is one of those, as I say, it is not something I'd given a great deal of thought to until I was met with the necessity of needing to. So, as advice, do not let animals eat your Vaseline. I mean, it doesn't do them any harm. I mean, that is one good thing for it. It's not like yet something that was bad for him and cost me 15 billion quid down the vet and all that. But at the same time, clearly his body was not so keen. Why are you? What are you doing? Where are you from? Because you seem to be from over here. Yes, you're over here. Why have you gone funny? I seem to have screwed up there too. The reason I feel like I've screwed up is this pin that I have in my hand is one of these two, and it's come loose, but there isn't the knobble that I normally associate with it. I'm going to make one. Seem to be making a lot of mistakes. Some of it is, I think, because I'm struggling to see. Pull on that a little bit. So, down you. You're the first one. So, let's move you around. This is looser than I expected. Let me see if I can tighten it up a bit more. It's funny because it was really tight earlier. Where's the handle? Seems so solid earlier. as I say, doing the darker card thing would be a good thing, but at the same time, I've got a horrible feeling that while it may be a mountain I need to climb, it's not one I entirely relish the idea. Because either way, I'm going to have to prick the holes twice. I'd have to get my stupid white pen working, so I'd probably have to buy another one just to make sure. And it feels wrong. I don't think it is. See, I don't know. Don't know what to do. Because at the moment, I don't feel that you can clearly see the threads and what's going on. But if I turn the light off, which I will do momentarily, hang on. If I turn the light off, hang on, you can probably see better. I can't see crap. But even like that, I can see that the threads are slightly more visible. Yeah, it's right for the camera. Yeah, nice one, camera. You can see... I really can't. So, I need my light on. And then you can't see. So, I don't know. And it's not because it's, 10 o'clock at night. It is just because even during the day I would have the light on because I need to see infinitely tiny threads with infinitely tiny pins. So, I don't know. Don't know quite how to deal with that. Ideas on a postcard would be gratefully received as to any suggestions that you feel would be helpful. Everything is up for discussion because I want you to be able to see what's going on, or at least have some clue as to what's going on. Because obviously, I'm sharing it with you. I am doing this for documentational purposes of my journey of making my neck curtain. But at the same time, I am doing it for you as well. And there's no point if it's pointless for you. As I say, I'm already aware that it's less than ideal, but... like everything, there's less than ideal and then there's impossible. Thank you for that, Rory. Wretched spangles. I mean, look at the bottom of this. Look at the spangles on this. Knobbly, weird. They're roses, but just friggin' annoying. Right there, little man. You woke your sister, you know that. And while we haven't done much today, I am going to call it quits here. It is 10:30 at night almost, and I've got a long day ahead of me, I think, because, well, as I say, I thought it was Thursday and it's only Tuesday, so clearly I am slightly lagging for the week. I didn't sleep very well Sunday night, which is possibly why I'm a little out of time with myself. But I will inevitably try to come back tomorrow, unless my whole world falls apart tomorrow or something. I will try, and we shall go ahead and we shall get to the end of my rose ground and then do this triangular section of that, and then we shall decide whether we're going to do the last little bit. The answer is we will, and I will have to have wound those 5 bobbins, which I still have not done, and complete the entire square, sorry, not the square, the triangle, and then we can survey our losses and moan about spangles and start all over again on bobbins with no spangles, and we shall decide which bobbins we're going to do, because as you can see, one of the advantages of these is they do bunch up rather well, as do those Honiton bobbins. And as a reminder, little dainty Honiton bobbin, but I am more convinced that, hang on, just picking them up, one of these 3 would be better for my brain cell. The problem is fitting them on the pillow. But as you can imagine, with 5 more pairs of bobbins, that is the maximum number of bobbins. But of course, comparing extra thin bobbin to, say, fattest, chunkiest bobbin, these are really easy because they're straight and stuff. But they're like twice the size. And so then you struggle to get them all on the pillows. So we will talk about those, I think, tomorrow. We will, as we and more as we get towards the end of our square, and try and decide, maybe kind of tie a knot round every bobbin that we would need, and see how well they place on the pillow. These are good. I like these, but these are also quite light. This one's the heaviest one. I love these because they're kind of rough and they're the right shape for me, but I do like these as well. So I like all 3 of these, mainly because they haven't got spangles, but all 3 of those would work. The question is, which one? So we shall take a thought on it at a later stage, but I am kind of erring to these as the slimmest, and I do have quite a lot of them. So the slimmest, and working from there, and then cursing because they roll around a lot. But we shall see. Anyway, thank you for coming tonight. Sorry it was a bit late and a bit short, but the workday ones will tend to be shorter, just because I've got to eat and dog and work, and I ended up actually on a meeting till 6:30, so I was going to start at 5:30 originally, and then of course I was watching someone else play some games for a bit, and time got away from me, and then I realised I hadn't eaten anything, so then I had to shove some food in my face. So it's all my own fault. Time got away from me, and then I wonder why it feels like it should be Thursday. So I shall see you hopefully tomorrow being Wednesday. So hopefully see you again. Bye.